Kembo Kembo na Tata Nzambi, Mpungu Tulendo Yamazulu, Sonini na Nini Somanda. Yes, Ngai Murungu Mwene Nyaga. It's that time we sit and rightly divide the word of truth. Molweni Bantuana Babawo Oswema Zuluini. Nusiemi Betwa Bumbote Bana ba Isole. Moriega Shiana Shiangai. Mpo Salama Watoto wa Mungu. Yes, he's no stranger to you. The man, the lion, the king. TREY OKETHIWE ISOLELE. And get this, Panabeto. No, he's not broadcasting from Babylon, but my king. Perhaps it's better if you tell them. Bayeti.
Bayeti Nkosi. So yes, we are broadcasting from the continent. I am here. I'm in the land. Sadly, it's only for a short while. Hoping to come back soon. It's an amazing, but yet realistically saddened trip. I've learned so many secrets and things about this land that are happening, I've been speaking to people here on the continent. I've experienced some very interesting people, and it's a pleasure to talk to our people in the diaspora, because I'm just gonna say we have a lot of work to do. Kimbo, hallelujah.
Kimbo, my king.
A lot of work.
So one of the highlights, because I know you, it's surreal coming back to the land of your ancestors. It's an experience like none other. The moment your feet touch that ground, you interact with the people. And for once, you don't have to be conscious about your identity or the color of your skin. But that is a normal experience. You're a spiritual man, my king. You follow the path of spirituality. You follow Tata Nzambe. So what has been the highlight in your spiritual growth when you landed on the continent?
My highlight of the trip was encountering people like Mikhail Massa has taken us. I mean, it's a pleasure to finally be in touch with him in person. He's taken us to different things that has helped us grow spiritually. The tabernacles here are so much different than we were doing it online. And so it brings a different feeling to it. You can put the reality of what's being said by our brothers over here on the continent, like yourself, into better perspective, because it's like you see what they don't see, but yet they know that they still know, but yet they still don't do. That's kind of like how it is. It's one of the greatest things that I saw is that the whole Hamite argument is smashed, because when you get here, you see us. I have seen so many people that look like people I know in the diaspora. And I had an encounter with a very high-ranking official here in the land. And it was funny because when we were talking, he asked me if I was Christian. I said, no, I'm a Bantu Benduela. And he kept asking me, Benduela, because there's a place called Benduela, I guess, here in Angola. I said, no, I'm a Bantu Benduela. Oh, he said, oh, the belief of the niggers or the Black people. And so it was like, wait a minute. He basically told me that they know what our belief system was called before the colonizers. So they know what it is.
the information has always been here, my king. But you see, the way of the Mundele has been to teach us to hate what is ours. And they have made what is good to look evil and what is evil to look good. Now, have you had a chance to meet any spiritual leaders in the awakening?
I met an elder who is way over 100 years old. And he gave the history of what happened, especially with the Portuguese, because they were one of the first colonizers here. And all the rest that followed is that the intent, this is going to be the biggest shocker, I'm going to say, on your channel. For those who think Christianity came to save Black people or Africans, they are totally deceived. The beginning of Christianity was about torture, it was about death, it was about control, and it was about manipulation. They had no intentions whatsoever for saving anybody's soul. It was about taking what didn't belong to them, period. There's a museum here in Angola that actually lays it out. Just to give you a hint that they knew that this was Ethiopia, they put it on the wall. Ethiopia Occidental.
And you
it's
see
in the history.
How the nations love to mock us with our own information. So, my king, we recently had Pastor Melo on the show.
I'm sorry?
We recently had Pastor Melo on the show. You've been in Angola. Angola is where you would find a lot of Tokoists. Have you interacted with any Tokoists?
Yeah, we've interacted with a few. And what was funny was they started saying this was a prophecy that was coming to be fulfilled with us coming over. Mm-hmm. There's many people been talking about it, saying that they knew. Pastor Mello took us to see a lady who was very close friends. And I know the video I made, I hated the fact, I thought my camera picked up the book. Well, what was funny, like I told Brother Mas, I said, everything else was fine except for her revelation. And it was almost like, was that intentional? Because we had a mishap trying to get to her, like as if something was trying to stop us. And then the video comes out poor. So I'm going to try to do a video that will interpret her, what she was trying to say. But just the gist of it was, you're now going to see the false version of what everybody believes begin to rule. And it's going to be a very, contrary to what you think, it's not going to be a good time, especially for us.
Yes, and we find that is going to be both on and off the continent. The situation with Afghanistan, we have refugees coming into East Africa. What would you say that? Is that an incursion?
Yeah, they're trying to create an issue. The one thing the enemy is very good at, especially Esau, is creating chaos. You know, when I was listening to the video with the Prime Minister of Israel speaking to Biden, and just sitting here in Angola and even hearing about Congo, because we were up near Congo, and I'm like, there's no way you guys are trying to do good based upon what I am visually seeing in front of my eyes. The day I met Pastor Mello, some of us went to go meet the president of Angola. They met the staff, but they didn't meet him. One of the things that I will say is that if you're saying you're a Christian, okay, there's no way that you could possibly think that the Creator would be so biased in his blessings that certain people would have so much wealth while others would be stricken with poverty, and you think you're serving the same God. There's no way. You know, one of the things that I've seen here is some of the churches are very nice, but yet the community around them is horrible. I would hope, especially for the Tokwis and the Kimbangwis, because of the heart of Simon Toko, that we need to get back to the transition of taking care of the community better. And I'm not just talking about just, I mean, because, you know, the one thing I'm hoping, I want to get fluent in Portuguese, trust me, that's a struggle here when you don't speak it. But many people in Brazil are way worse. And they're the majority of the people who left here. And they don't even know, or they may know, but they may not know, is that they are being just as manipulated as the rest of us. And I would love to be able to talk to many of them because they don't even know. Many of them, they still practice many of the cultural similarities. I mean, when I got here, the music was like being in the Caribbean, okay?
Or being in a capoeira fight.
Yeah. So it's like the cultural aspect is in place with, it's like, okay, it's kind of like this concept where, and the Most High talks about Hosea 4:6. You have, it's like you know the traditions and the culture, but nobody's home.
You cannot.
So the lights are, it's like the lights are on, but nobody's home, okay? So essentially that's what I see with Hosea 4:6 is that you're still speaking the language, you're still doing all the different types of things with it. You still have an idea of who you are, but the practice is gone. The practice, and that's what the elder said, is like, you don't even know what we used to do when we prayed. When he talked about how we gain power in our prayer, I was like, what? We used to do that? You know?
And you see, my king, as I was recently with the seers, some astonishing things that came to light, because you have been on the ground, you're on the continent, you have spoken to those that kept the ways. Now, do you see the dispersity between the scriptures we have been fed and what is on the ground?
Definitely. The elder made it very clear that when we received the scriptures, we lost the power. They took it. Like the seers, like the brother said, the seer, he said, where are our scrolls? And give them back. Well, they're always chasing these people. You can still tell they're coming, they're trying to find them. Where I was at, you can't really find it on the map. Okay, this guy he's very isolated. The other person that I've encountered, he's in the environment you would least expect to find him. Okay, so it's not like you can just go and just find these people with this kind of power. You have to be able to know where to look.
You have to be able to know where to look, my king, and they have to invite you in. That's what I've been telling you.
They have to invite you, right? So they can, it's like they can see you coming. And that's how you know they have spirituality.
The real deal.
So it isn't like so it isn't like they can't sense when your intentions are to, as Mikhail likes to say, finish you off. You know, it's like they know the intentions of what you're there to do. But the sad reality of it is our leaders don't realize the power that they think they're enjoying is nowhere near what it should be. That's the sad part.
But you see, we have been led, my king, this is what we have been led to believe. And you, as having been on the ground, perhaps help us dispel this notion, because, you know, when we on the continent try to put across these ideas, we are dispelled as, you know, people in the diaspora want to lean on this knowledge, but this knowledge without the wisdom, my king, perhaps if you can, you having been on the ground.
Well, the underlying factor is we're hated everywhere, and it's nothing more evident than here. Okay, they are pretending to like you. Now, there are maybe those of the other nations that they'll say, well, that's not fair because there are those of us who like Black people. I said, you don't understand. Liking someone and understanding who they are two different things, okay? The problem is religion has taught you that everybody is the same, and we're not. Just to give an example, okay? I've done this teaching many times when I said salvations of the Yaoundé. What this world does not understand is salvation is coming to the little child who's eating out of the garbage can. Okay, salvation is coming to the woman who's being prostituted in the hallway by one of her pimps. Salvation is supposed to come through the Bantu person or the Black person who's sitting in his chair in his office thinking that it's just about making money. Okay. Salvation is supposed to come to the people that are standing there in the church house being told, oh, Jesus saves and Jesus loves you. But when they walk out of their church, what are they looking at? Nothing but trash. Okay. If the kingdom of the Most High is inside of a person, the environment has to change. They don't understand that, okay? The Mundele are enjoying the fruits because the Most High let them have their time. But they don't understand the world is changing because their time is up. But our people aren't recognizing the fact. Like I was talking to a lady here today, okay? They knew what I was talking about, but they didn't understand. Yeah, salvation comes to you standing right here in front of me. Because that's what John 4:22 means. But the people who are manipulating this continent, they don't want you to know that because they don't here's the saddest part about what's going on. The land belongs to the Bantu, and they're giving it away. The Most High gave it to us, and you're giving it away. You're selling it, and you're even being tricked out of it with stuff that's not even true. Okay? So don't come telling me, oh, it's all about a bunch of Hamites. No, they're not. Hamites have their land. Okay? No, we're being tricked out of our land. You know, they have people who have their own villages that they don't even know what they're sitting on. And they live in squalor.
My king, would you say this is because as a result of the people directly, or as a result of the leadership? Or where do you see the breakdown in this? Because I believe for one to steal, you must bind the strong man of the house. So
right.
Your perspective.
Yeah, they bind, and that's what they're doing. They're buying, the leadership is being bound, okay, by manipulating what they believe so that they can come and steal it. So the land is at the mercy of those who are being The land is being taken from those who know how to manipulate the people who have the most influence. Because they tell you one thing, even as a secret society person, you can still be told different things. Okay. So they tell you one thing when it's another. You know, the first thing that I noticed when I got here is the symbol for the obelisk as the light poles. What do you think that is?
Well, my king, you know what they do. You know what they do. You know what they do. If they can leave their mark anywhere, especially on our on the holy lands of our fathers, like the seer was telling us that the soil that we have on the land, those are bits and pieces of our ancestry, our heritage. Now, have you tried like talking to those on the ground, my king, especially those in the doctrine of Christianity? How did they receive this message? Would you say you got what kind of reception? The same in the diaspora. Did you receive the same reception you received in the diaspora as you received on the continent?
Not well. I apologize if my internet's messed up because I'm on these cards.
Mm-hmm.
There were those who did listen and they kind of like, okay, wow. But then there were those who just kind of like, okay, and they just kept walking. You know? So the issue, just like Brother Massa said, you can't, these people will, you know, they'll kill you for, or they'll come after you for trying to change what they know. It's not like, it's basically like the diaspora. There's no way, unless you really break it down to them. You know, one of the things I've had to tell them is Deus is Congo. Okay. That's when they start to say, okay, because they know what Congo is. They just don't make the connection that it's the same. You see, but then you start bringing in the perspective, like, wait a minute, the God of the Bible is Congo. That's when they start to think.
So the deception is deep rooted. So my king, it's safe to conclude that whatever doctrine and dogma that has been given to our people on and off the continent is nothing short of witchcraft.
Right. Well, now, and see, they also brag about that too. People don't even, I gave Massa this post that I got that somebody sent me on Twitter about what the former president of France said about Africa. He said that we basically raped and pillaged it for 4.5 years or more. And we miseducated them so that they wouldn't realize that they were being stolen from, so that they wouldn't attack us. That's exactly what he said.
Well, they love to mock what they've done to Banabeto, because the time is coming when they shall know that they inherited lies from their fathers. My king, you have been helping us break down the matrix on the end of the diaspora. I know you might not have had that much time on the continent, but you're a spiritual person. You have been given gifts by Tata Nzambe. So perhaps a message for anybody on the continent that might be watching this broadcast now, before we get to those in the diaspora.
You really need to, I would say you really need to get back to your original history of what happened before the colonizers came. Because you're gonna find out that already were worshiping the God of creation, but we were doing it the right way, and the colonizers were doing it the wrong way. And that's how they were able to manipulate us.
Kembo na Tata Nzambi. And for those, and now we to the elephant in the room, because you've been given charge to remind those in the diaspora, the exodus and coming home. What do you have to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, we've seen where they're going to be coming, basically running to, because what Tata Nzambi is getting ready to do, and many people have spoken about this, is he's going to make everybody miserable to the point where they won't even be able to stand it. The sun, the weather, the people, the way that people are going to be attacking one another, you're going to see continuous discomfort where people are just going to be constantly under duress. They've already began with the process of what they're doing with the COVID things that they're
Pandemic.
doing. Right. But they're also doing it through financial changes. They're doing it through the weather, you know, things that are happening with the weather, the heat. I mean, you know, I can feel being, I mean, I love the weather here in Angola. I mean, it hasn't been always real hot, but it's been acceptable. It's comfortable. It feels good. Where I came from, it's just been scorching heat day after day after day, which was very unusual, you know? So you're gonna keep waking up every day to something else. Like what's going on now? I mean, the month of September, I'm just gonna tell you that what I'm sensing already is the month of September is gonna start the nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Because it's this, when the end of this month, you know, we go in the Bantu calendar, it's the close of our year, our 12th month. We have our Passover. We're expecting a lot of things. We see hurricanes, we see the heat waves. And you tell us the weather in you're in Luanda, I presume, my king.
Right.
And the same weather that we are enjoying here. Some spells of some sun, not too hot, doable. So now when we push the idea that sub-Saharan culture is the Holy Land with protection, would you stand by that decision? Having, with what you have seen, the weather patterns, the people, well, we might need to do some work with the people, as we need to do with those that are returning. Would you say that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree, because what they're saying about the forest is a big lie. I don't know what they're making up, but it doesn't burn like it does in the Amazon. I learned the secret about this forest. The Most High protects it still. Mm-hmm. Even with the wars and things that have happened, the suffering of the animals, it's one thing that's been very clear is the land itself still sustains the protection. And protection will actually increase the more we come back together as a people, and realize this land was meant for the Bantu people to be the rulers over. Because then the animals will be at peace too.
So, my king, I know your internet is not stable, so I don't want to keep you long enough. Perhaps two more questions, okay. Not even questions, perhaps a point of direction for Banabeto, those that are returning. Say, for example, somebody wanted to resettle in Angola. Word of advice, do's and don'ts, my king.
You better know somebody that's well connected. That's the first thing. That's the do. That's the do. Do not, and I repeat, do not come with a westernized mindset at all. Because even though you have knowledge, because we're here, we can help each other, you must learn what's going on before you can actually do anything about it. If you come with the mindset like you know how to do things, and you actually don't see how things are running, you're going to find yourself in a situation you will hate, because the people here will do something about it. That I can I can tell you. You know, not everybody is your friend, even though they may act like it. That's a fact. Sadly, the nature of who we are in the diaspora can be seen in the extreme here because of all of the hatred from the wars that took place. You're gonna see a world that looks like it's, I mean, they have a system. I'm not saying they don't, but it just, you're trying to figure out, you'll see poverty beyond your wildest imagination. So the thing to prepare yourself for is, don't just assume that you'll be able to make a difference right away. You're gonna have to see before you do anything. Because it's not, I mean, yeah, there's poverty in America, there's poverty in I'm sure in South America and stuff like that. But the way, there's people everywhere. I mean, literally everywhere, okay? And there are different levels. And the higher up you go, you're gonna encounter the ones that are trying, because they can't know what if they know what you're doing, you're gonna have a problem. That's just the way it goes.
You had it, Banabeto. As humble as he is wise, the man, the legend, Bantu King, TREY OKETHIWE, the chosen one, Isolele, beyond the rivers of KUSH, reminding you that sub-Saharan, that's why I chose to wear this t-shirt, reminds you that this is home. And if you can see, my king is actually glowing. That is what the sun in Embo will do. Words of wisdom, my king. I'm glad you made the time. You are always so kind to us at Bantu Re-Education TV. We continue to pray protection and increase and an increase. And we love what you do. We honor what you do, helping us break down the matrix, guided by the Mpeve Musantu of Tata Nzambi, by his Ngolo, for his Kembo. So we honor you. We continue to ask you, Banabeto, Ungubani, who are you?
Ungubani, exactly.
He knows himself. He knows where he belongs. He knows where home is. And he has purpose to seek home. So if you're in this Bantu truth, you have had it. Do not come to the continent with that Western ideology. You're not coming to idiots. They will handle you if you come with it. But if you come with the humility and understand that there are people here, that you're coming to contribute to whatever they have and whatever they have, the two sticks united, then we may rebuild the land that was given to our progenitor Abama by Tata Nzambi, Yampungu, Tulendo, so nini na nini Somandla, Ngai, Murungu, Mwenenyaga, the mighty one of the Bantu. My king, perhaps a closing shot, and you can take us out.
Okay, so I want to say it's such a pleasure to be a part of this, the Most High. I'm so humbled by so many different things that I'm learning. But at the same time, it's like, wow, I'm just so frustrated, because it's like that overwhelming feeling of, man, I hope we get the revelation of the process to get this thing going, because it's like it's a mountain that only we can do with Tatanzambi. He's the only one that can help us do this because there's a lot to do, a lot.
Indeed, there is a lot. There is a lot, my king. I don't want to waste any, not actually waste, that would, because it's never a waste of time when we gather in the name of Tatanzambi. But I don't want to use more of your time, that you should be enjoying the land of your ancestors. I know just about now in the land, probably wherever they are, if they have not given you a barbecue, you can come to the East Gate. We love to do that. But Matondo Masaka, my king brother, for making the time as always. Bayete. Until next time, Beto.